Topping our news this week, an urgent call for information. The Macomb County Animal Control needs help in finding out what happened to a dog that was abandoned with a note on its collar and his eye hanging out of his head. We'll tell you what that note said and who Animal Control wants to hear from. Nick?
Football season is back, and that means so are concussions. Coming up, we'll take you inside the debate.
And while one investigation closes, another one opens. We talked with Macomb County Animal Control about the controversy behind the pet groomer, Shaggy Dog. We'll tell you where that all stands next. Charlie?
A 90-year-old man nearly dies right in the middle of a church service.
I could hear someone yelling that they needed help.
But a pair of first responders save his life. That amazing story coming up later in our broadcast.
We've got these stories plus much more on this edition of Shelby This Week. Macomb County Animal Control is looking for tips after a 3-year-old Shih Tzu was found in centerline with his right eye protruding from its socket. Now, we do want to warn you, some of these pictures may be disturbing for some. This is Boo Boo. He was found earlier this month by police near an apartment complex. Animal Control rushed him to a vet who had to remove his eye due to an infection. Someone had placed an e-collar around his neck with a message on it that read, "Boo Boo, I don't know what happened. 3 years old, good with kids, been like this a week." Chief Animal Control Officer Jeff Randazzo says they can also tell the dog has been groomed, the latest being about 4 months ago. This fact and the note on the collar leads him to believe someone knows what happened to this dog, and he wants them to come forward.
You took a dog who you already knew was in pain and suffering, and then wrote this note and sent it out the door, right? To fend for itself in hopes that somebody would find it.
Chief Randazzo is asking groomers in the area to check their records for a dog that matches Boo Boo's description and to contact Animal Control with any information that can be of help. But better yet, he wants the owner to come forward.
Someone knows this dog, and they have a chance to come forward, because I'd rather them come forward before being found. Rather they step forward, admit responsibility, we could sit down, we could have a conversation, a heart-to-heart of what truly happened, right? And I think that's the best avenue for them to take.
Right now, Boo Boo is slowly recovering from his injury. He's in the care of medical staff in a foster home. And while we were at the Animal Control, we asked Chief Randazzo to update us on the controversy surrounding the Shaggy Dog. Shelby Township Police have closed its investigation into the dog-centered business after a family says they brought their dog to the shop for grooming, and it died when it was in a locked closet and chemicals spilled on him. Well, now Animal Control is opening its own investigation, looking for any neglectful activity or violations. But Jeff Randazzo says this matter is something the residents should also get involved in.
But that's where the residents really have to get involved, because one of the first things that happen when something happens like this, whether it's Shaggy Dog, it's, whatever, the Beagles in Shelby Township, at Shelby Manor, it's one of those situations where they're like, Chief Randazzo needs to get out there and take those dogs. But it's not that simple. There's laws, because in the state of Michigan, these are all their private property.
Chief Randazzo says there aren't any ordinances on groomers in this situation. Shelby Township passed an ordinance right before the primary election, but that was on housing pets.
There's really no ordinances or regulations that are set forth as far as, to be a groomer. I mean, you could be trained on the job. There's really no regulating, that industry of it.
Chief Randazzo says back in 2015, he gave all municipalities a humane pet proposal that would give him the permission to go into shops accused of mishandling pets. But no one has adopted it. He says that at this point, his hands are tied, and if the residents are upset with the situation that allegedly happened at Shaggy Dog, they need to call their township officials.
If we don't set up proactive ordinances that safeguard against these type of activities and incidents, then we'll just keep having them.
And as for the grooming at Shaggy Dog, that has ended. We also got confirmation that the groomer is no longer there, but sources say she's moved to another shop in Utica. We'll continue to follow this story as it develops. For months, we've been telling you the township will create a new community center for Shelby Township. So, where do the developments stand? We talked with township officials who say right now they're looking at the needs of each department that's inside the center. So that means the cable TV station, the district court, the senior center, and the library, and what those needs cost. Township architects and engineers are conducting a feasibility study walking through the current community center and through Ewell Elementary School to determine if moving to the school or staying and renovating would meet everyone's needs. The study is primarily looking at Ewell Elementary School, but they're also considering keeping the cable TV station and the court in its existing building. The two companies working on the project are Fazl Khan, the township's contracted company, and AEW, the company formerly contracted with Shelby Township. The Community Center Advisory Board continues to meet with department heads, and while a timeline still is yet to be set, the township hopes to make an announcement or have new developments by the end of the year. Concussion horror stories have made headlines for more than a year now in all sports, but especially in football. Leagues from the NFL to high school are implementing new rules and programs to help protect players from suffering severe head trauma, but yet the problem won't disappear overnight. That leads Nick Buckler to find out, are we underestimating the problem?
It's an aggressive game, so we know injuries are going to happen.
And they have. According to a study by the Michigan High School Athletic Association, Michigan schools reported nearly 4,500 head injuries in 2015. And the main cause was football.
And a penalty, I believe, on Romeo.
Evan Crank is a former quarterback in the Utica district who says he's suffered multiple head injuries. How many concussions would you say you've had?
Probably 5. Years has gone on, haven't been able to retain information and remember things that happened recently. I still have my memory as far as this happened 3 years ago or whatever, but little smaller things I have a harder time remembering.
With the serious side effects that last a lifetime, coaches from high school all the way up to the NFL aren't taking this lightly.
You know, there's a focus on it now, focus on safety, and we do some things with our tackling that we try and take the head out of the equation, which I think definitely helps. And, we want the players to be healthy. We want them to be safe.
At the high school level, many parents and coaches fear that concussions are going undetected. So many school districts are implementing what is called baseline testing, which is used in major pro sports that tests a player's memory, reaction time, attention, and stress, and helps determine whether or not to remove a player from the game.
It goes straight to the trainer, it goes straight to the team doctor, and then it's really out of the coach's hands until they are cleared. So the trainer will put them through the test, and if they go through it and see that there is a problem, then they go right to the doctor or the hospital.
The hope is the new standards for concussion protocol will lower the number of concussion-related injuries in high school sports all the way up through college and pro sports. Nick Buckler is more about those new NFL rules just put into place this year.
Yeah, Kelly, that's right. There was a couple games in the primetime games with Cam Newton and Tyrod Taylor on Thursday Night Football that they've taken some shots to the head, and the new rule implemented this year is that if the ref suspects any kind of concussion symptom, that he has to be removed from the game just on the ref suspecting it. Yeah. And he'll be evaluated by an independent doctor, not a team doctor, and before he can come back into the game, he has to get clearance from a doctor who's a neutral party.
And has this happened yet, or?
It has. Tyrod Taylor from the Buffalo Bills actually had that happen to him last Thursday in the game, and he wasn't happy at the time, but then after the game he commented and said, it's the rules, it's for our safety, we have to do it. And another thing, on a more local level, Matt Marulli, who we talked to in that story, the head coach of the Utica Chieftains, he said it's all about coaches teaching kids how to tackle properly and not target the head, lead with the shoulder. And if coaches start doing that a little bit better and maybe more attention to detail, that this problem could at least come down a little bit.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for following that, Nick.
Absolutely.
A Clinton Township man is facing serious charges after allegedly driving drunk and trying to outrun police. Charlie Cadotto takes us through a pursuit through our streets that could have ended much differently.
37-year-old John Dennis Castile may have been driving a Ford Escape, but he had a tough time escaping police when they tried stopping him. Castile is accused of trying to outrun a police cruiser last week when cops tried pulling him over. Police say Castile and a passenger were cruising along 23 Mile and Hayes when he started a pursuit. They say Castile wouldn't stop. He started driving several miles until eventually getting a flat tire, stopping inside the CVS parking lot on 22 Mile and Shaner. At that point, police say the man jumped out of his car and ran into busy traffic right on Chainer Road. Police chase him on foot, eventually catching up and arresting Castile. The passenger, who we aren't naming, surrendered immediately and was released from jail that night. Castile now arraigned on OWI charges and charges of allegedly eluding police. Shelby PD not releasing dash cam video just yet. For Shelby This Week, I'm Charlie Cadotto.
Because of this chase, police say one of their cruisers now has tire damage. Meanwhile, Castile is still lodged in the Macomb County Jail pending a probable cause conference later this month. Police are looking into a case of a BB gun bandit in Macomb Township that could be connected to other incidents in Shelby Township as well. A 19-year-old Ray Township man is facing felony charges accused of shooting at an ATM on 26 Mile Road and a man's car in a parking lot earlier this month. These pictures were taken by surveillance cameras from the ATM. He was arrested days later and charged with destruction of property. Meanwhile, Shelby Township PD has been investigating reports of car windows being shot out by someone with a pellet gun.
In the last 3 weekends, we've taken about 15 reports each weekend. It's late night, it's 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, where somebody is using a pellet gun to break out the windows. The cars have been damaged, windows have been shot out, the doors have been dented and so forth. It only takes a couple seconds.
Lieutenant Schmittler is pursuing leads and tips right now and still investigating to see if these cases are connected to the teen who shot at the ATM. It's one of the most heated races in the state, and it's not even statewide. The race for Macomb County Public Works Commissioner is becoming more than a debate about the county's waterways. Charlie Cadotto tells us how 2 county power players are vying for the Public Works seat.
Kelly, not just vying, in some people's eyes, Candace Miller and Anthony Morocco are fighting for this seat. We've been expecting the race for Public Works to get heated any time now, and with less than 2 months to go, it's really no surprise. Anthony Morocco, the 6th-term Democrat, is facing a challenge from Congresswoman Candace Miller. Morocco is bracing for a heated campaign that will likely cost him and Miller a lot of money.
You know who runs the pump stations because he has the biggest signs imaginable with his name on it, paid for. Maybe that's one of the reasons our sewer rates are so high.
Well, I don't know. When she was Secretary of State, she put the biggest signs up on the Secretary of State building that had her name on it. So it's funny that she would all of a sudden decide that my signs just shouldn't be on county facilities.
Macomb County's top Democrat, Mark Hackle, actually endorsed Miller. Morocco says it's all politics, but he has come under fire for sewage overflows and beaches that need cleaning.
The beaches aren't closed as often as they were. When I first came into office, we had approximately 300 beach closings for the year on a daily basis. This year we're down about 60.
My opponent's response was, well, that's been going on for years. Yes, right. That's actually why I'm running against you. Because that is not the correct answer. The correct answer is, how can we fix this?
According to campaign finance estimates, both campaigns will likely spend more than $1 million each to win this race. Kelly, back to you.
Next on Shelby This Week, selling land to fix a problem. How Utica Community Schools is combating a problem with declining enrollment. And the ribbon is cut and another new business is being welcomed to Shelby Township. We'll tell you everything the new pharmacy has to offer next.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
The Macomb County health officials are confirming the first case of West Nile virus in a resident. They're not releasing many details other than that the resident is an older adult and is recovering from the virus. 4 cases were confirmed in Macomb County last year. The health department wants to remind everyone to protect yourself from mosquito bites even as the weather gets cooler. Make sure to wear repellent on exposed skin and clothing and dispose of standing water like flower pots and pet dishes. A major company is hiring 70,000 workers for the holiday season. With Halloween quickly approaching, that means Christmas will be here before we know it. And so will shopping season. Target is offering thousands of new employees to work in its stores across the country, including the location right here in Shelby Township. Target will also hire 7,500 people for its distribution facilities, which ship online orders and send products to stores. So if you're interested in applying for seasonal work, Target will be hosting an in-store hiring event on October 14th and 15th. Drop in between noon and 6 p.m. on either day to meet the team and learn about the available positions. And be prepared with resumes to tell them about yourselves, because there will be opportunities for an interview on the spot. But if you can't make it to the event, you can always apply online as well. The kids might be back in the classroom, but Utica Community Schools are still doing work to balance the budget. UCS has been facing funding challenges as birth rates decline in Michigan and enrollment rapidly declines as well. To address these issues, the district sold 2 pieces of land. One of the properties is in Shelby Township, 40 acres of undeveloped land off Shaner between 21 and 22 Mile Road for $3.1 million. The other land is a vacant property in Washington Township, north of 26 Mile between Shaner and Hayes Road. Both projects will bring in $7.7 million for the district. The land is scheduled to be developed with single-family homes for families who will relocate inside the district to help with decline in enrollment. For senior citizens, having a pet is an important member of their family, but it can also be a burden to take care of one, so everyone's coming together to help. The Pet Supplies Plus on Garfield Road in Clinton Township is joining forces to donate more than 8,000 pounds of dog and cat food to Macomb County seniors. These donation boxes are located in all of the municipal buildings in Shelby Township to help as well.
We're looking to donate at least 8,000 pounds, hopefully more than that, to help the subsidized senior citizens feed their pets as opposed to using their food to feed their pets.
If you'd like to help, bring dried and canned pet food to the municipal building. This is part of the pet food drive being run by 4 Paws, 1 Heart and the Macomb County Food Program, which ends on October 9th. More businesses are moving to Shelby Township, and now the newest addition is the Shelby Family Pharmacy.
1, 2, 3,
The Sterling Heights Regional Chamber of Commerce welcomed the pharmacy to the area with a ribbon cutting. And the Family Pharmacy will do much more than just provide Tylenol and allergy medications.
The one thing unique about coming to an independent like me, we offer individualized service, and we're able to take care of our patients on a one-to-one, more of a personal connection as opposed to going to a big box pharmacy.
Shelby Family Pharmacy is now open, located on Hayes Road, just south of 22 Mile. The Shelby Police Department is welcoming a new 4-legged friend to their ranks. This is Argo, their new canine member and Officer Goebel's new partner. These are pictures from when they went through finding the police dog, and Argo went through tracking and bite work. They will go through 6 weeks of intensive training together in Pennsylvania before they make their way back home to Shelby Township. And still ahead on Shelby this week, beautiful gardens across the township. You submitted lots of names, places, and homes, and now we've got the results from this year's Beautification Awards. And being in the right place at the right time. We'll tell you how first responders saved a man's life during a church service next.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
You nominated, a committee voted, and winners were chosen. Homeowners all over Shelby Township are being recognized for their hard landscaping work with this year's annual Beautification Awards.
It has been said that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Yet the natural beauty provided by the recipients of the 2016 Beautification Awards is truly undeniable.
The criteria for the Beautification Awards is that it has to be a special garden, and it has to be your own work. And some houses are big and grand and others are not. It isn't the house, it's the effort that the homeowner puts into the grounds.
And for one homeowner, her passion stems from a basic maternal instinct.
I started gardening when my children were in high school. I have boy-girl twins, and when they were in high school, I noticed that they didn't need me as much. So I felt like I needed something to nurture because I'm a nurturer. And I just started puttering around in the backyard, and this is what happened.
And check out what happened over at Robert Kenny's home, as he took creativity to a whole new level with his water features.
A lot of the features I built myself.
The homes of Bob and Jan Leverens, along with Debbie and Bob Peeney, will be entered into the Beautification Hall of Fame after enjoying 3 years as winners. The Beautification Awards have always been something to look forward to.
The Beautification Awards are one of our favorite things for the whole committee, and I think for the community. The people just love to talk about their gardens. They know the work they've put into it, and they just like that other people recognize it.
The Beautification Committee is now accepting applications. For more information, you can contact the Clerk's Department at 731-5102. For Shelby This Week, I'm Stacy Sansatera.
It's a story almost made for church. A 90-year-old man loses his pulse during a pastor's sermon, but is revived moments later. This all happening during a September 11th memorial ceremony at Shepherd's Gate Church in Shelby Township. Charlie Codato explains how first responders saved an elderly man's life.
Light shines the brightest in the darkest of situations.
Pastor John was halfway through his Sunday sermon when
all of a sudden I could hear someone yelling that they needed help.
Shelby's deputy fire marshal and police lieutenant just happened to be at church to be honored on the September 11th anniversary.
They happened to be here right when we needed them the most.
It's a near-death and resurrection story, almost perfect for a church. Right during the pastor's sermon, a woman stands up and says her grandfather, James, needs help. James was sitting in the front row when suddenly he went into cardiac arrest. But lucky for him, first responders were only a few pews away.
I checked his pulse while he was seated, and there was no pulse. So we started CPR. I started with compressions. I asked for someone to retrieve an AED and get an ambulance coming.
But before the ambulance arrived, a miracle of sorts. James was breathing.
Even before we could analyze, I took my hands off and you could see his chest rising and falling rhythmically. So that indicated that he was breathing.
Today, James is doing much better. He's still in the hospital undergoing tests and gaining strength. His family says they're lucky to have been at Shepherd's Gate Church that day.
The amazing part of the story is this family were first-time guests. They had never been to our church, and they happened to sit in the front row of the congregation.
And the congregation had front row seats to Shelby Township's heroes at their finest.
Our jobs are 24/7 no matter where we're at, and this has happened when we are out at restaurants and other places. When there's something to be done, we do it.
When there's something to be done, we do it. A reminder that sometimes help is there, whether we realize it or not. For Shelby This Week, I'm Charlie Codato.
And that's it for us here at Shelby This Week. You can watch us all the time on shelbytv.org. And for updates on everything you've heard about today, head to our Shelby TV Facebook page. We'll leave you now with more beautiful scenes from the Beautification Awards. Thanks for watching.